Grand Duchess Olga Nikolaevna of Russia was known for her distinctive physical features and vibrant personality. She had chestnut blonde hair and bright blue eyes that sparkled with mischief. Her broad face and upturned nose gave her a unique look that was not immediately striking compared to her sisters Tatiana and Maria. However, as she matured, Olga's appearance blossomed. Muriel Buchanan described her at a 1912 imperial ball as having a tip-tilted nose, a broad, laughing mouth, and sparkling blue eyes, all contributing to her irresistible charm and vitality. Her compassion and generosity marked Olga's personality. She demonstrated her caring nature as a child by giving her doll to a crying girl she saw from her carriage. Her compassion continued into adulthood. At 20, she managed a portion of her fortune to respond to charitable requests independently. When she encountered a child using crutches and learned that her family could not afford medical treatment, she allocated funds to cover the expenses. Her kindness was described as almost angelic by those who knew her well. Olga also had a reputation for a quick temper and moodiness. As a small child, she famously told a portrait painter that she did not like him because he was ugly. Her straightforward and strong-willed nature often led to clashes, especially during childhood. Anna Verabova, a close friend of her mother, noted that these traits were admirable in a woman but challenging in a child. Olga's mother, the Empress Alexandra, frequently admonished her for her behaviour, reminding her to be polite to the servants and control her wild and erratic tendencies. Yet intellectually, Olga was highly gifted. Her Swiss tutor, Pierre Gilliard, praised her quick brain reasoning abilities and knack for entertaining banter. She enjoyed studying politics and reading newspapers, often selecting books from her mother's collection. When caught taking a book, though, before her mother read it, she humorously told Alexandra to ensure it was appropriate. Musically, Olga was talented and had an exceptional ear for music. She could play anything by ear, transpose complex pieces, and play challenging accompaniments at sight. Although she was often lazy about practicing, she would also play the piano for hours when inspired. Her singing voice, a pleasant mezzo-soprano, added to her musical repertoire. Despite her sheltered upbringing, Olga's personality blended compassion, intelligence, and strong will. Her charm and vitality made her a beloved figure within her family and among those who knew her. As she navigated the complexities of rural life, these traits defined her legacy as a Grand Duchess of Russia. Born on November 15, 1895, the Grand Duchess Olga Nikolaevna of Russia was the eldest child of Emperor Nicholas II and Empress Alexandra. Her birth was a challenging one. Alexandra endured a grueling 13-hour labour, and Dr. Ott had to use forceps for the delivery. Despite the difficulty, Olga was a healthy baby, weighing 4.5 kilograms at birth. Her robust appearance made Nicholas remark that she did not look like a typical newborn. The joy of her parents was evident. They were not disappointed that their firstborn was a girl. Nicholas expressed his delight, saying, "I am glad our child is a girl. Had it been a boy, he would have belonged to the people. Being a girl, she belongs to us." Alexandra echoed his sentiments, viewing Olga as a divine gift. In 1896, Olga accompanied her parents to Scotland, France, and Darmstadt. This journey included a memorable visit to Balmoral, where she met her great-grandmother, Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom. Victoria was impressed by her great-granddaughter and called her magnificent. Olga's presence also charmed the French, with Nicholas proudly reporting that their daughter made a significant impression everywhere they went. Crowds greeted her with cheers of "Vive la Babe." Olga and her siblings' upbringing was intentionally modest. They slept on hard camp cots, except when ill, and started each day with cold baths. This Spartan lifestyle aimed to instill resilience and humility. The servants addressed the children by their first names and patronyms rather than using their imperial titles, fostering a sense of normalness within the royal environment. Olga shared a particularly close bond with Tatiana. The two sisters often dressed alike, shared a room, and were collectively called the Big Pair. In 1900, a family crisis occurred when Nicholas II fell seriously ill with typhoid fever. During his illness, Empress Alexandra attempted to convince him to change Russia's succession laws to allow females to inherit the throne in the absence of male heirs. She hoped to secure the throne for Olga, rather than have it passed to Nicholas's brother, the Grand Duke Mikhail Alexandrovich. However, these changes were never implemented. Despite her sheltered upbringing, Olga's early years were filled with family affection, royal duties, and the looming responsibilities of her imperial heritage. Her strong character and the deep bond with her family set the stage for the challenges she would face later. Olga had a complex and multifaceted family life shaped by deep bonds, challenges, and a unique position as the eldest child of Tsar Nicholas II and Empress Alexandra. She adored her father and often wore a necklace with an icon of St. Nicholas, symbolizing her admiration and devotion. Shared activities and intimate conversations characterized their relationship. During the summer holidays, they played tennis and went swimming together. Olga confided in her father during their long walks, cherishing the moments of personal connection. In contrast, Olga's relationship with her mother, Empress Alexandra, was more strained, particularly during her teenage years. While Olga loved Alexandra, their interactions were often marked by tension. In her letters to Nicholas, Alexandra noted that Olga could be unamiable and prone to sulking when disciplined. During World War I, Alexandra expressed frustration over Olga's reluctance to participate in official visits, even to the hospital where she worked as a Red Cross nurse. Elizaveta Nikolaevna Erzberg, a parlourmaid, observed that Nicholas II was more attentive to the children than Alexandra, who often suffered from migraines and quarrelled with the servants. Olga also confided in her grandmother, the Dowager Empress Maria Fedorovna, about her mother's frequent illnesses, describing the situation as unpleasant. Queen Maria of Romania, who met Olga and her sisters during a state visit in 1914, remarked on the girls' natural and open behaviour in Alexandra's absence. However, when their mother was present, they watched her every expression, ensuring they acted according to her desires. Alexandra frequently reminded Olga of her responsibility to set an excellent example for her younger siblings, urging her to influence them positively. Yet Olga often found it challenging to manage her siblings, especially her younger brother, Tsarevich Alexei. At family dinners, Alexandra expected Olga to control Alexei's often unruly behaviour. Grand Duke Konstantin Konstantinovich observed that such expectations were unreasonable, as Olga struggled to handle Alexei's antics. Olga shared a special bond with her paternal aunt and namesake, Grand Duchess Olga Alexandrovna, who noted their similar characters as the basis for their strong understanding of each other. Despite occasional conflicts, Olga was close to Alexei, although her role as the eldest sometimes led to tensions. Alexei adored her and often sought comfort in her presence when reprimanded by their parents, declaring himself to be Olga's boy. Olga's family life was a tapestry of affectionate relationships, responsibilities, and the inherent challenges of being a member of the Russian imperial family. Her deep connections with her father and siblings, alongside the complexities with her mother, painted a picture of a young woman navigating her duties and emotions within the royal household. Olga had a complex relationship with Grigori Rasputin, the controversial Russian peasant and self-proclaimed holy man. Rasputin's presence in the Russian court significantly impacted the imperial family, particularly the Tsarina Alexandra and her children. Like her siblings, Olga was taught to view Rasputin as our friend and to confide in him. His prayers were credited with saving her brother Alexei during his severe haemophilia attacks. In the autumn of 1907, Olga and her siblings met Rasputin while wearing their long white nightgowns in the nursery. Olga was escorted to the nursery by Tsar Nicholas II, who recalled that all the children seemed at ease with Rasputin, indicating his informal yet significant role in their lives. However, only some in the royal household were comfortable with Rasputin's access to the children. In 1910, Sofia Ivanovna Tucheva, one of the girls' governesses, was alarmed that Rasputin was allowed in the nursery when the girls were in their nightgowns and demanded that he be barred. Although his interactions with the children were innocent, Nicholas II asked Rasputin to avoid the nurseries to prevent further scandal. It led to Tucheva's dismissal after she took her concerns to other family members. Despite the controversies, Rasputin remained close to the family. He often visited the children's quarters and strongly influenced Alexandra, who believed in his spiritual powers. Rumours circulated in society about Rasputin's inappropriate relationships with the Tsarina and her daughters, fueled by ardent, though innocent letters he released from them. These rumours, along with pornographic cartoons, depicted Rasputin in compromising situations with the imperial family, prompting Nicholas II to send Rasputin away from St. Petersburg temporarily. As Olga grew older, her perception of Rasputin shifted. She became more aware of the political instability his presence had caused. After Rasputin was murdered on December 17, 1916, Olga suspected her cousin, Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich, was involved. Rasputin's death deeply affected Olga and her sisters, who were visibly upset and huddled together, sensing the impending political upheaval. Despite the turmoil, Rasputin was buried with an icon signed by Olga, her sisters and their mother. Although some reports claimed Olga did not attend the funeral, her diary entry on December 21, 1916 confirms her presence. Reflecting on Rasputin's murder, Olga expressed to a fellow nurse in February 1917 that while she believed his death might have been necessary, how it was carried out was shameful, especially since her relatives were involved. Even after her death, the bond with Rasputin persisted, as evidenced by the amulets bearing his image and prayer around the necks of Olga and her sisters. This enduring connection highlights Rasputin's profound and complicated influence on Olga and the Romanov family. Olga was often the subject of marriage speculation and various romantic interests, reflecting both the political and personal aspirations of European royalty. One early admirer was Prince John Konstantinovich of Russia, meeting Olga at the christening of Tsarevich Alexei in 1904. 9-year-old Olga left a strong impression on the 16-year-old John. His infatuation led him to visit the Crimea in 1908, driven by a desire to see her again. But despite his deep feelings, Olga's parents rejected his marriage proposal. Rumours about Olga's potential suitors were rampant. In 1911, there was talk of her marrying either George, Crown Prince of Serbia, or Prince Boris of Bulgaria. The speculation suggested that Tsar Nicholas II aimed to strengthen Russian influence in the Balkans by making his daughters queens of the region. And after King George V's coronation, there was further conjecture that Olga or her sister Tatiana might marry Edward, Prince of Wales. Another intriguing prospect was her first cousin once removed, the Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich of Russia. An orphan who was close to Olga's parents, Dmitry was seen by many as a likely match for Olga. The Washington Post even reported that Olga had refused Prince Adalbert of Prussia because her heart belonged to Dmitry. However, despite the widespread speculation and even a rumoured marriage, the match did not materialise. It is believed that Dmitry's distaste for Grigori Rasputin, his association with Felix Yusupov, and rumours about his sexuality played a role in the decision. Before World War I, there were discussions about a marriage between Olga and Prince Carol of Romania. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Sazonov supported the idea to secure Romanian support for Russia in future conflicts. Nicholas and Alexandra agreed but insisted that any marriage should be based on mutual affection and voluntary consent. Despite visits and attempts to foster a relationship, Olga and Carol showed little interest in each other. Crown Princess Maria of Romania noted Carol's lack of attraction to Olga, describing her as having a broad, plain face and a brusque manner. There were even rumours that the Grand Duchesses intentionally made themselves appear unattractive to discourage Carol. Olga herself desired to marry a Russian and remain in her homeland. She confided to her tutor, Pierre Gilliard, that her parents would not force her into an unwanted marriage. This sentiment was evident when Duchess Maria of Mecklenburg proposed a marriage between Olga and her son, Grand Duke Boris Vladimirovich of Russia. Alexandra was horrified by the idea, deeming Boris an unsuitable match due to his reputation and lifestyle. Throughout her life, Olga's marriage prospects blended romantic interests and political considerations, reflecting the complexities of royal matchmaking in the early 20th century. Despite numerous suitors and speculations, Olga's strong-willed nature and desire for personal happiness guided her decisions, leaving a legacy of independence within the constraints of her royal duties. Grand Duchess Olga experienced several youthful romances characterized by a blend of innocence and heartache amid the grandeur of the imperial court, the turbulence of World War I. Surrounded by young officers guarding the imperial family, Olga and her sisters enjoyed a camaraderie with these men, especially during their annual summer cruises on the imperial yacht Standard. This environment of youthful interaction and holiday fun often led to flirtations and innocent romances. When Olga turned 15, a group of officers playfully gifted her a cutout portrait of Michelangelo's new David from a newspaper for her name day. The gesture, though light-hearted, sparked laughter from Olga and resentment from her younger sister, Tatiana. Olga's 16th birthday was in November 1911. She marked her formal entry into society and celebrated with a grand ball at Livadia. With her hair styled up for the first time and wearing a pink ball gown, Olga received diamond jewellery from her parents, symbolising her transition into womanhood. Despite societal expectations and discussions about potential royal matches, Olga's heart often leaned towards the officers she met. In late 1913, she developed feelings for Pavel Voronov, a junior officer on the Standard. However, their differing social ranks made any relationship impossible. When Voronov became engaged to one of the ladies-in-waiting, Olga expressed her sorrow in her diary, wishing him well but feeling the sting of unrequited love. During World War I, while serving as a Red Cross nurse, Olga's diaries from 1915 and 1916 frequently mentioned a man named Mitya with great affection. Valentina Chebotareva, a fellow nurse, identified Golden Mitya as Dmitry Chakbagov, a wounded soldier Olga cared for. Their relationship was marked by pure, naive love, and Olga often concealed her feelings from others. She stayed in touch with Dmitry through regular phone calls, felt depressed when he left the hospital, and rejoiced at his messages. Dmitry, who adored Olga, even spoke of protecting her by any means, including harming Rasputin if she wished. Another young man, Volodya Volkomsky, also showed affection for Olga. Her mother, Alexandra, noted Volodya's consistent smiles for Olga in a letter to Nicholas in December 1916. Despite these romantic entanglements, Olga's dreams of happiness remained simple and sincere. She longed to marry, live in the countryside throughout the year, and surround herself with good people, far from officialdom and courtly constraints. Olga's romances, though often tinged with sadness and impossibility, reflect a young woman's heartfelt and human experiences navigating love and duty in the twilight of Imperial Russia. As Olga transitioned into early adulthood, she faced a series of intense experiences that profoundly shaped her character and outlook on life. Her early brush with violence occurred at age 15 when she witnessed the assassination of government minister Pyotr Stolypin at the Kyiv Opera House. This traumatic event left a lasting impression on Olga and her sister Tatiana, affecting their sleep and emotional well-being. 3 years later, World War I brought Olga even closer to the harsh realities of life. She trained to become a Red Cross nurse, joining her sister Tatiana and her mother, the Tsarina Alexandra, treating wounded soldiers at a hospital in Sarkoy Sela. This experience exposed Olga to the gruesome aftermath of the battle as she tended to gunshot wounds and other injuries. Olga's disdain for specific individuals was evident during this time, particularly towards Felix Yusupov, who avoided military service by taking advantage of a law exempting only sons. Olga's intense patriotism and disdain for those not contributing to the war effort were reflected in her letters to her father, Tsar Nicholas II, but her patriotic fervour sometimes led to unguarded comments that hurt her mother, who was of German descent. The war also allowed Olga and her sister to experience life beyond the confines of their royal upbringing. They interacted with fellow nurses and learned about their families, developing a camaraderie that transcended social classes. On one occasion, when their attendant was delayed, Olga and Tatiana took the opportunity to go shopping alone, only to realise they had no experience of handling money. This incident underscored their sheltered upbringing and the new realities they were beginning to navigate. Despite her compassion for the soldiers, the stress and emotional toll of nursing wounded and dying men began to affect her. Instances of Olga's temper flaring up, such as breaking a window with her umbrella and destroying items in her cloakroom, highlighted the strain she was under. Eventually, the pressure became too much and she was reassigned to less demanding tasks due to her nervous and frail condition. Olga's awareness of the country's dire financial and political state during the war and revolution was acute. According to courtiers, she understood the extent of the public's discontent with her parents. Gleb Botkin, the son of the family's physician, noted that Olga, a natural thinker, seemed to grasp the bleak future awaiting her family better than anyone else, often leaving her sad and worried. As the revolution unfolded, Olga's once bright spirits dimmed significantly. Baroness Sophie Buxhovden observed that the horrors of the revolution affected Olga more profoundly than her siblings, leading to a noticeable change in her demeanour. This period of her life was marked by a deep sense of foreboding and loss, reflecting the turmoil now engulfing her family and country. If you loved our video into the life of Grand Duchess Olga, you won't want to miss our next video. Click on the screen now to explore the untold stories and hidden secrets of another fascinating royal figure. Get ready to uncover more historical gems and intriguing royal tales. Your next adventure in history starts right here.